Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Stock Market Today. It's Alexis Garcia and Ken Shreve here to break down the market action in today's session for Wednesday, November 29th. And Ken, stocks shaking off some excitement over higher than expected GDP numbers and giving back some gains today.
Yeah, it wasn't such a great day for the market here. NASDAQ was up 1% intraday. It closed looked like modestly lower, and also small caps. The small caps looked like they were finally ready to, break out of a downtrend, but a 2.2% intraday gain faded to pretty much flat. So not a great day for the market. Sort of had the feel like stalling, where you have a higher volume, but no price progress. So sometimes we count that as distribution. One reason this market rally has worked well is that we have had very little in the way of distribution days. But so we'll see if today counts as distribution. But certainly indexes gave back pretty big gains ahead of a key reading on inflation tomorrow.
Great. And what stocks do you have on tap for us today?
Three stocks in the enterprise software group. Workday had a strong earnings report. That's what fueled a nice gain for the NASDAQ in the early going. So we'll take a look at Workday and also two other stocks in enterprise software, Dynatrace, which cleared a buy point, and also Cloudflare, NET.
All right, great. Well, we will get into those names, but first, let's just check in on the major indexes. And Ken, as you said, the NASDAQ hitting a high for the year before fading, closing down around 0.2%. The S&P 500 also down around 0.1% today. The Dow closing up fractionally, and small caps up about 0.6%. So we wanted to start with small caps here, Ken. And as you can see, really kind of peaking above that 200-day line, but getting turned away.
Yeah, it looks like it came to within a penny, believe it or not, of that 181.76 high. So IWM hit a high of 181.75 today, and then just kind of turned tail. So again, this is sort of an example of what stalling looks like. Again, you get higher volume, and index just can't hold on to a big gain. So I know a lot of breadth watchers. We've been sort of enthusiastic that breadth has started to expand, but I know a lot of technicians out there that are really waiting to see if IWM can get going here, but it's going to need to get over 181.76 to possibly start a new uptrend here, but is still obviously having problems with that 200-day moving average being a resistance level.
All right, let's take a look then at the NASDAQ composite, and again hitting that high and fading into that sweet good night.
Yeah. I mean, it really sort of had the feel of distribution. You can see volume picked up the pace, came in quite a bit higher than what we saw on Tuesday, and then a slight downside reversal here. So NASDAQ showed similar action last week, the day before Thanksgiving on Wednesday, where it closed higher but gave back a big intraday gain. So maybe not surprising that this is happening as the NASDAQ tries to break out over that left side high of 14,400. Could be a point where it could just kind of consolidate and drift lower here. Wouldn't be such a bad thing, but all in all, not a great day for the market. Definitely sellers were around, and again, we do have that key inflation report tomorrow, so we'll see how the market reacts to that.
Great. We can check in quickly on the S&P 500 index, and again, similar action here, giving up ground today.
Yeah, really kind of bumping up against that recent high of 4607. It looks like. So again, reverses lower. Looks like volume hasn't fully kicked in yet, but it was on pace to be higher than what we saw yesterday. So kind of similar action in the S&P 500 today.
All right, let's take a quick look at the Dow Jones Industrial. And Ken, this one just doesn't seem like it wants to stop running here.
Yeah, it's good, solid index. Once again, another index that is up near those late July, early August highs. So it's been quite a rally for the blue chip index after hitting that low just above 32,000. So really, all three indexes are at a point where they may try to pause here and digest gains. It doesn't mean that the Santa Claus rally is necessarily over, but might be time for the market to just kind of pause and digest gains gains here for a little bit.
All right. Well, we keep talking about this market pause, but when we pull up the 10-year Treasury, we can kind of see why maybe that hasn't happened yet, extending its slide today.
Yeah, I mean, to me, the bond market seems a little bit at odds with the stock market. When you see the kind of the scope of the gains that we've had in the stock market, I think could be the market's way of saying that it's looking forward to a soft landing for the economy next year, and inflation is really not going to be an issue, and the Fed has done its job. But then you see this money just piling into bonds and sending yields lower. So usually when that happens, it's worried about a economic slowdown, and we'll likely get one next year. The question is it going to be in the first half? Is it going to be in the second half? But if it is a slowdown that really takes hold in the second half of next year, if the market is looking out 6 to 9 months, maybe we see some weakness in January pricing that in. So market, looking a little bit wobbly here, but we're still in a confirmed uptrend. Would be kind of nice to see yields firm up here, because as more money flows into bonds, it really just is kind of a disconcerting message, that kind of flight to safety trade, and bond market worried about the health of the economy here.
All right, let's take a quick look at one of the sector ETFs, the S&P 500 Spider Bank ETF. Ken, what are you looking at here?
Well, this has been really kind of a forgotten area of the market, but I think the outperformance of financials is worth noting here. KBE kind of got dragged down with the market late, but to me, it looked like it gave an early buy signal after gapping above its 200-day moving average. Made another strong move today in higher volume, so not out of the question that financials could start to outperform here. Again, it's been kind of a forgotten area of the market, and maybe a little counterintuitive with the bond market worried about a slowdown in the economy next year. That's normally not a good environment for banks, but sometimes stocks make counterintuitive moves. So I think it's important to still watch the financials here.
All right. Well, Ken, you brought up Workday, ticker WDAY, had a nice earnings gap up today, a gain of 11%. And nice to see that RS line getting that blue dot there.
Yeah, stock that's been outperforming the S&P 500, a good gap up. I mean, this stock was holding a strong gain for most of the session. Again, got pulled down late with the selling in the major stock indexes, but kind of gapped up on strong results. And you can see Workday is, it's a large cap company. I mean, very, very large market cap here, but really has a consistent track record of bottom line and top line growth. They guided over the next 3 fiscal years their subscription revenue between 17 and 19%. That was pretty good. The market liked that, but Workday is just a classic example. So many stocks in this enterprise software group that are continuously delivering top line and bottom line growth. Workday's specialty is sort of human capital management, HR software. So pretty good performance for the stock today.
All right. Well, speaking of software, let's take a look at another name in that category with Dynatrace. And again, gapping up today, a gain of about 2.2%, and looks like it's breaking out of this base here.
Yeah, really solid response to earnings several weeks ago when Dynatrace first moved above all of its moving average, and it's been in rally mode since then. When I look at the handle, that pattern recognition is sort of recognizing here. There really wasn't much of a shakeout. Typically, when a stock approaches a prior high, it starts to drift lower in light volume, and you like to see a little bit of a shakeout. Last remaining sellers exiting the stock. Not much of a shakeout in this handle, but Dynatrace still a good breakout today, a pretty clear buy point, and still in that blue shaded area, so still in a buy zone here.
All right, well, let's wrap up by taking a look at Cloudflare. Again, another nice gain today of about 5%, clearing that buy point.
Yeah, security software stocks did really well today. We've got Zscaler and the leaderboard model portfolio. Cloudflare is has some security wares in its arsenal as well. So it's cloud software company, and again, just a nice breakout. A stock that actually held gains here. So it probably rallied along with CrowdStrike, which reported earnings, strong earnings in the security software group. Zscaler had a strong number yesterday, so Cloudflare, probably participating with CrowdStrike today, but near the top of a buy zone after a breakout from kind of a lengthy cut base here, but looks to be a stock under accumulation. And I'll tell you what, the enterprise software stocks, three of them that we looked at today, just the fundamentals are there, and the growth stories are very compelling for all three of these names.
Yeah, really impressive earnings and sales growth on this one. And Ken, thank you so much for your insights. And that's it for today. We'll be back with more market analysis tomorrow morning, starting with IBD Live. You can head on over to investors.com/IBD Live for all the details. And fear not, Alyssa Quorum will be back from vacation tomorrow. So be sure to return here right after the close.